What's going on, Minecraft fans? My name's Luke the Notable, and in this video, I'll be surviving 100 days in Minecraft Hardcore mode. If you've never heard of Hardcore Minecraft before, that's because it's exclusive to the Java version of the game, so it's only on computer. And this difficulty setting makes Minecraft way harder. It definitely earns the name Hardcore. But most notably, of all the rules with Hardcore Minecraft, probably the worst one is that if you die, your whole world is deleted. Doesn't matter if you put a ton of work into your farm or your walls are really high, if a creeper ends up creeping up on you, it's over. Again, this is only on the Java version of the game, so you'll have to play on computer if you want to try out hardcore mode. I ended up just going with a random world. No particular seed or anything like that. And now finally, here we are, day number 1. I spawned in a forest biome which had both oak and birch trees, so at least I'll have a lot of material. But honestly, it doesn't really matter where we started. My objective is just to not die for 100 days. And you can not die anywhere. It was a very dense forest, so I was chopping for a while. I'll make it look decent eventually, but for now we're just going on survival, so I'm going with dirt windows. It might be 20% dirt, but if it has a door, it's home. I also wasted a good bit of time building a mine shack right next to my house that I would never use, because when it got dark I went to my main house and then just built a mine there. For our first day we did pretty well, had almost everything, but I was getting a little bit hungry. And Hardcore Minecraft is the only version of Minecraft where if you get too hungry, you can actually die. But I figured I'd deal with the food situation in the morning. I can't go out at night, so figured I'd just mine. I found a lot of coal and iron, which is great, but there's still so much to do. So now it's the next morning, day 2, but it's raining outside, so even though it's morning, it's just as dangerous as night. Whatever, at this point if I die I'm only losing like 20 minutes. Again, I spent most of my time just clearing out the area. It was filled with trees. And right as the sun started to go down, I had a pretty cleared out area, and even had a wooden fence to help keep out the zombies and creepers. You know, I loved those dirt windows, but I think glass ones will work a little bit better. And thanks to all those trees I farmed, I also got enough apples to keep me alive for a while. I mined at night, because there's nothing else better to do. By the morning of day 3, it was still raining, but these apples aren't gonna last forever. I've got to set a farm up. Thanks to all my work the previous 2 nights though, I had a bucket, which made it a lot easier. It's a humble farm, but in a couple days it'll feed me, and I won't die. Haha! I had a lot of cobblestone, so I decided to put it to good use and build a protective wall. I really shouldn't have done this at night though. As you can see, right as I finished, a creeper creeped up on me. After that creeper scare, I decided to spend the rest of the night mining more cobblestone. It was a nice bright sunny day on day 4, so I chopped down more trees. My entire compound is surrounded by them. Skeletons, zombies, and even creepers have been known to hide in these things, so I feel way safer with them gone. However, after 4 days of mining trees in the daytime hours, I started to pile up a decent amount of wood, so I began construction on the second story of my house. Sure, it's a little simple, but it's very functional. Compared to some of my previous attempts, I'm actually doing very good for day 4. No skeletons have killed me yet. I've got a house, of course I've got my little farm out there, and I even have a bed, so I can sleep through the night peacefully. Day 5, I was working on expanding the farm and also making it safe with these cobblestone walls. I did just the tiniest bit of exploring and found a nearby swamp, but I've been known to get lost, so I'm not gonna venture out too far. This time I adventured a little bit too long, and it got dark on me, so the monsters came out. On hardcore mode, all of the monsters in the game not only spawn more often, but they're also more deadly. So I ran back home. Just never go out at night. This is not a joke. But again, thanks to some sheep who are tragically no longer living, I can just sleep through the night. All I did for the entirety of day 6 was farm trees. The tree cutting continued well into day 7, but by this point I kinda got it to a point where I was comfy. It did take a while, but I got a sizable chunk of land cleared out. No spooky stuff hiding here. Though ironically, as soon as I went into the forest, I could see that a skeleton was hiding in the trees. This is exactly why I'm clearing it out. Day 8, I'm back to exploring, but this time I have a boat and a little more knowledge of the surrounding area, so I probably won't get lost. I really wanted to find a village or town. They're one of my favorite aspects about Minecraft. I didn't find one, didn't find anything actually, mostly swamps. I still had some daylight left, so it's time for my first harvest. From here on out, I'll be eating bread. Farming definitely kept me pretty busy. Remember, if you don't eat, you die. I did not end up sleeping through the night day 8. Instead, I worked on making my mine a little bit more accessible. And now it's the start of day 9. I don't remember why I made a sign. I must have felt proud or something. Clearing the largest forest in the world has definitely given me a good amount of logs. So in the sweet daylight of day 9, I upgraded my house again. Clearing the forest takes a while, so moving up is way easier than moving out. And obviously it took all day, but I built up to the 4th story, which gave me a nice look of my land. Oh, you gotta know I slept up there. It's day 10, and I'm still alive. It's probably a good time to invest in some armor, even if it's just iron. On hardcore mode, you need it. Any one of those mobs in the right situation could easily kill me. I also expanded my wall and changed it all to stone, just to keep keep the monsters out better. At this point, the dream was to surround the entire area in a nice stone wall. Obviously, that was gonna take a while, but a stone wall surrounding my entire compound is gonna keep me very safe. By the end of the day, I got most of it done, but it doesn't have any torches on it, so it's still fairly dangerous out there. But I wasted no time and spent all night mining instead of sleeping. Thankfully, because I'm recording this, I can time out the night and day cycles pretty easily, even underground. I woke up early for the harvest on day 11. The crops were coming in great. Food was never really an issue for me. I had tons of apples from cutting down every tree in existence. I just really like the agricultural aspects of this game. But obviously, farming is nowhere near as fun as wall building. My wall looks a little interesting in certain places, but you gotta forget about vanity when you're playing hardcore Minecraft. It's all about survival. So again, when the sun went down, I went straight into my mine and didn't come out until the next day. Day 12, I was minding my own business when some raiders showed up. Good thing I built this wall. Without the wall, I would have been swarmed and stuck in my house by these raiders, but thanks to my wall, I was totally fine. I was even able to use a certain corner of my wall to safe spot the raiders so I could kill them without taking damage. Unfortunately, every time you kill raiders, you get the bad omen effect, so this thing's stuck on my screen. Don't worry, I'll get rid of it in the morning. Well, the first thing I did was make a compass. I told you earlier I have a habit of getting lost. To cure myself, I simply had to find a cow, extract some white stuff, and then slurp it down. I also brought 2 lassos so I could take some cows back with me to start on my animal farm. I also grabbed 2 cute little piggies. There's no point in naming them. They'll be dead soon. There's no pen yet. They just live in the inner wall. Still safe. And you know, by day 13, I'm feeling pretty safe too. I've got some high walls and 10 bread in my inventory. And then look at that. During my nighttime mining, I even found some gold. Gold is one of the main ingredients in a clock, which allows me to keep really good track of the day-night cycle. Obviously, during the day, it's pretty easy to tell that it's daytime. But at night, when I'm in the mines, it's always a little difficult to tell just how long you've been down there. But with this clock, I'm the master of time. Not space yet, but we're getting there. I stumbled upon some lapis lazuli as well. For a second, I thought they were diamonds and peed myself a little. Day 15, I started on a second wall outside of my first wall. I spent all day building my outer wall. It's really starting to become something. Obviously, it's not perfect though. There's still a couple dark spots, and that's why I came out at night, to make sure I lit them up. Morning of day 16, wall construction was gonna continue, but I saw a witch and a couple other mobs, so I decided not to this time. I didn't even mind. Farm time's the best time. And you know, for every foot of wall, I've gotta take down 3,200 trees, so it takes a while. Day 17, I was minding my own business, cutting down trees, when I found an unexplored cave on my land. It was a lot bigger than I thought, and this could possibly be where a lot of the zombies were coming from. Good thing I found it. I did find one creeper, but I had the high ground. I was fine. Day 18, I was clearing out trees for the wall until my axe broke. That's fine, gave me a chance to go back home and switch out my torches for lanterns, just to flex a little. It was a long day of wall building, and I'm almost done, but I went to bed early. And on the morning of day 19, with that final wall placed, my perimeter is finally secure. I stayed out at night for day 19, just wanted to make sure that all of the little dark spots were covered up and no monsters could get in. Monsters could definitely get in. There's a lot of dark spots. And of course, any spider can climb right over that thing. Though I will say on hardcore mode, the mob spawns can get a little bit intense, and this one zombie is a lot less deadly than 40 zombies. Anyway, at the end of the day, I ate right before bed, even though mom told me not to. Day 20, with no more wall to complete, I constructed this bridge that's pretty small and totally useless. I was pretty much just trying to find a way to burn the daylight hours. I'm waiting till night to check the wall again. Went up to the top floor of my house to check the lighting on the wall. From up here, you can see exactly where all the dark spots are. I think the caves in this section are contributing to some of the zombie population. I went with some simple lights, but it's fine because everything the light touches is my property. And I was lighting up the wall all night until daytime the next morning. I still had a couple monsters spawning on my compound, so day 21 I went into this cave and made sure that every square inch of it was owned by my estate. And you know, I'll always make time for a little bit of farming. The compound's really starting to come together. It's very safe. It's not totally free of monster spawns, but most of them don't come here anymore. And finally, because I could build through the night, I was able to build a pig and cow pen pretty easily. You know, maybe some of you out there could do a little bit more with 21 days, but I'm proud of myself. Now that my home base is more or less secure, I'm working on branching out. I can't stay here forever. I got plans to find the ocean. I want to move in every direction. Explore this entire land. But first, I'm gonna expand my house a little bit, so I need the sand to make glass. Day 23 was the first day of house construction. Remember, it's a little easier to go up than out. I have literal mountains of wood, so I had to figure out something to do with it all. I spent all day constructing room after room of this house. It's gonna be a tall one. Yep, 7 stories up, and this is only the beginning. Remember, I didn't want to spend too much time on my house. It's not about vanity, but I spent another day on it. 10 stories of wood, all collected from the trees around my spawn. Isn't it beautiful? So I immediately cranked it up to 32 chunks and stood on top of my glorious structure. I didn't really learn anything new. I'm surrounded by mountains and swamp. And honestly, I could stay up here all day, but we should probably move this video along. Day 25, I switched out my birch lights for redstone ones. It's a little bit of a flex, but I think it looks nice. And I'm just as bad at redstone as I am at life. life. I ran out of cobblestone for my wall, so it's back to mining at night. The clock helps a ton when I'm down here. I can tell that it's just about to be— oh, those are diamonds! Yes! 5 of them. This is good. I made a sword and a pickaxe. I think most of us probably would. So day 26, with iron armor, a diamond sword, and most importantly a compass, I set out for more adventure. It was getting pretty late and I ventured out pretty far, so it looks like I'm hunkering down for the night. I couldn't sleep, so I just sat in the house and waited until morning while I ate food in real life. I went a little past sunrise, probably had to poo or something. On the road again, mostly just looking for villager towns. I really like those things. I didn't end up finding a town, but I found a desert ruin and some sort of outpost. I've looted desert ruins before, so I decided to go with this one first. There was a creeper inside, but honestly that's pretty standard. I actually lost about 35 days of work when I died to a creeper inside a jungle ruin. To my credit, it did lag a little bit and I had my shield up, still died. Anyway, back to the ruin. I can see the chest, but I know it's totally a trap. I took my time, I was extra careful, everything was fine. Hey, a little free TNT's always nice. I got a couple emeralds, some assorted bones, no diamonds or anything, but it was definitely worth my time coming down here. And it's getting pretty late, so we'll handle that other thing tomorrow. I made a pretty lame structure and then just stood there all night. Alright, now it's morning. Time to take on the pillager outpost. LOL, just build! There were a lot more of them than I thought, but I had a lot of bread, so I'll probably be fine. It seemed like they only spawned outside of the structure, so I went inside and barricaded myself in. The loot wasn't great, but I like carrots, so that got me a little excited. Oh wow, this got very out of hand very quickly. Most of them died because they shot each other in the back. It was very sad. I ran away, but with sweet victory. And my belly full of loot, I ran through the night to my home. I made it back fine. I could see my house from a mile away. I only had 8 carrots, but using the bone meal I got from the desert ruin, I was able to get those rookie numbers up quick. After farming, I spent most of the day fishing. There's a couple rare items you can get from fishing, and it's easier than going through dungeons. At night, I decided to upgrade my house, at least the first level. Putting different layers of wood is one simple thing you can do to make your house look pretty homey. One day, I think all the rooms will look this nice, but obviously, as you can tell, they're not. Day 30, I ventured out in search of chickens. I came back with sheep, which, you know, I guess I needed 2, whatever. And after all of day 30, I never did find chickens, but 2 llamas is just as good. Day 31, I found chickens, but I had to lure them the old-fashioned way. Good thing I can cut all of that out. It took all day. As you can see, it's dark now. I generally try to wait to harvest my crops until they're all fully grown, but I was just so excited to get at those carrots. Now I can finally start breeding all of the animals, except the llamas. I don't want more of those. It was kind of rainy on day 32, so I decided to redo my basement. I spent all of day 32 just making my basement look nicer, and I think I did an okay job. Day 33, I really started to get this animal farm underway. It's not just me. Animals are used for a lot of different items in Minecraft, and that was pretty much it for day 33. I thought about mining, but decided against it. Day 34, I did a little more exploring and found a nice little meadow with a ton of flowers. I also found some roving pillagers, but with a little bit of building, it's pretty easy to take them down. And getting rid of the bad omen trait isn't a problem anymore. I've got access to unlimited white stuff. You know, going up to the 10th floor every night to sleep never got annoying. Day 35, I started on a bridge that would connect my land to a nearby shore. It took a little bit longer than I expected, but I wanted to make the part around my land a little nicer. After building the wall, I gotta do something with all this cobblestone. And everything you're seeing on screen now is a full day's work in Minecraft. Kind of underwhelming. And by the end of day 36, the bridge was completely done, complete with safety rails and torches. Day 37, I decided I was going to extend this granite road further into this mountain. However, the mountain was far chunkier than I could ever imagine. So if it's alright with all of you, I'll just skip the next 15 minutes of me mining. Took about half a day's labor at day 38 to break through the other side, but it felt good when I did. I spent the rest of the day making it look pretty until it got dark. Then I got scared. There's a massive birch forest on the other side. This is going to be a pretty cool road. Originally, I went with this stair design, but eventually I do scrap that and go straight across. And at the end of day 39, I was kind of wondering what I got myself into here. You gotta understand, I'm on day 40. This is the longest I've lived in a hardcore yet, at least when recording this series. In almost all of my deaths, I get bored, try something risky, and die, so I really want to avoid that here. And keeping myself busy with a massive road project seemed like a good idea at the time. Well, I always make time to go back and check on my cows. Day 41, I built a simple birch home on the other side of my tunnel. It's a little pit stop. If it gets dark and I'm on the road, I can just sleep here. I have some big plans for this road. I want it to carve through this forest. It's gonna be beautiful. One of the problems I immediately started running into is there is a lot of trees in this forest. Just wait, it's gonna take a few days of hard labor chamber, and then it'll look great. Can't wait to get up and do the same thing tomorrow. Honestly, I've been living this lumberjack lifestyle for a while now. Clearing trees is no problem, and it actually works out. They'll supply most of the material for this road. Day 44 was pretty much just more of the same. Constructing the road, clearing out birch trees. That's pretty much it. But by day 45, it was really starting to come together. This thing is looking pretty nice. This is very dangerous. I should not be doing it. You know, if I didn't have this birch shack, I probably would have died a couple days ago from staying out too late. And by day 46, the bridge was complete. No safety features, but complete. That's what I did on day 47. Made it look a little bit nicer, and also put up some fences to keep the mobs out. Day 48, I started building my shelter on the other side of the bridge. This will be a nice place to come to if I ever get bored of my main compound. But as you can see, even after a whole day of construction, it's not done yet. Yep, still out here day 49 until nighttime putting on the roof. But this was the last step. It's nothing special, but it is a little bit more property for me, and I'm proud that I have it here. We're back in the main camp for day 50, just tending to my crops. Gotta keep those carrot numbers up. I also did a little bit of work on extending my farm. It could never be too big. Food isn't really an issue anymore, but if I ever find a villager town, I need to have a lot of farmland to trade with them. I just worked on it all night peacefully. One of the nice perks of walls. I wasn't recording for the first day 51, but I don't want to confuse you all, so I'm just gonna show you this day 51. I wanted to find the ocean, and I found a big river that was just through this mountain, so all of the real day 51 I was carving through. Boat travel's really nice because it doesn't take up food, and most enemies can't get you if you're in a boat. So yeah, now we're finding the ocean, something else to keep me busy and not dead. I obviously get distracted easily because day 52 we're already working on icing out the bedroom. That honestly didn't take too long, so I had time to follow the river, hopefully to the ocean. And kind of like when I built that birch shack for working on the road, here I built a swamp shack. I would describe it as cozy. It's very functional. I just ended up mining all night. Now it's been 3 days and I still haven't found the ocean, so I went up a mountain to try to get a better view of the land. I didn't really get much, but it kind of looked like this river might be a good bet if I could connect to it. This is probably the most dangerous thing I've done so far. It was a long night of canal construction, but an uneventful one. By the time I got back to the swamp shack, it was basically morning. But I was right back at it in day 54. This is probably the largest part of man-made river I had to make. And finally, there it is! I can see it! The ocean! It was nighttime though, so I had to be quick. Cobblestone shack. The canal's not totally complete yet though. I'm trying to get one stretch of water connecting my house and the ocean. And as much fun as watching a full day of mining might be, I decided to cut it out, and I'll just show you the completed canal. There's still a couple rough spots, but it's one complete stretch of water, all the way to my house. It's nice. I was able to time out the entire trip on day 56, and from my ocean shack all the way back to my house, it only takes about 5 minutes of normal time, or about half a day in Minecraft. But now on day 57, it's finally time to go out into the ocean. There's great loot in the ocean. Ruins, sunken ships like I have here, tons of stuff. I mean, just to show you right here, in this sunken chest, I found a diamond! I also found a treasure map and potatoes, which is awesome. Yeah, me and treasure maps have a pretty interesting past. Here I am, day 25 of another hardcore Minecraft attempt. I bet you can guess what happens. Yep, I was going for a treasure map, and drowned. I was way more careful this time. It meant a lot to me to get this treasure map. Yeah, sure, it took a while, but I found it, and didn't die. Can you see now why I wanted to go to the ocean? Look at all that great loot. Day 58, I found another sunken ship. I'm on a roll here. Honestly, this time around, I was most excited about the little bit of jungle wood. And right as the sun started to set, I found it. The villager town. Day 59, I began by stealing everything I could get my hands on. This one had a brewing stand. Those are insanely hard to come by. Ah, they have cats! Cats! Unfortunately, my inventory's absolutely bursting. I have to make a trip home before I can come back here and get more loot. But you know, when I got back home, I felt like fulfilling another dream of mine. Kinda like the treasure map, this is gonna go back to another hardcore playthrough that I died on. In an old playthrough, I trapped a zombie under my house in this convenient little containment chamber. It also had a lever where you could drown the zombie if you wanted to. And I'm building another one, but this time I want to trap a creeper, so it'll be a little bit more difficult. It took all of day 61 to wire it all up. I said earlier, I'm not that great with redstone. However, by the end of the day, the containment chamber was done, complete with auto drown mode. Day 62, I waited until night to test out my containment chamber with this zombie. They're pretty easy to catch, though I quickly realized that if I try to do this with a creeper, I'll probably end up dead. I went with a safer contraption for getting the creeper in there. Basically, the pressure plate will get him through the fence, and then he can't get back out. I'll walk over this tile, which the creeper can't, obviously, and then I'll get him in there with a bucket of water. But first, we must fish, and for a while, and I'll tell you in the morning why. If I want this creeper to stay alive forever, I'm gonna need a name name tag, and you get those from fishing. So I fished for all of day 64, and didn't get a name tag. And guess what? In day 65, we're still fishing. You know, statistically on game 66, it should have dropped already, but hasn't. Yes, I did spend 3 days fishing, but it's peaceful and safe, which is all a hardcore player wants. I'm not just looking for the name tag, there's a couple other rare items that you can get, like a saddle, which will give me horses, but I didn't get any of them! So by nightfall, I gave up. I'm just going back to the ocean. I started off day 69 by getting to know this dolphin. Nice. If you give them fish, they'll take you right to treasure. It's pretty easy. I ended up finding a lot of treasure with this method, and even found a buried treasure map. I was very careful again. I know what happens when you're not. It didn't even take that long, just a little bit of digging, and I found it. It was packed with loot. Look at that thing. There was no way I was gonna sleep on day 69. When the sun came up the next morning, I was already looting another pirate ship. I'm still not done though, looking for treasure, saddles, name tags, really anything. Honestly, at the time, I could tell I was visibly pushing my luck out here in the middle of the ocean. I should probably go home. You know, as I pulled up to my ocean shack, I kinda realized that this thing needs a little redo. Yeah, definitely not safe. I can't even sleep in my bed at night here. Now it's the morning of day 71, and first things first, we have to make this ocean shack a little safer. I found through this playthrough a gate and wall is pretty much all you need. This simple little shack turned out pretty nice. I can fish into the sunset, and I fished all night again. I'm still looking for that name tag, or a saddle. And even though it took a little longer than I thought, on day 72, I finally hooked that name tag. I waited until night to take my river passage home. Remember, it's about 5 minutes, so I was able to skip most of the night doing this. You know, I haven't really gotten a good look at my treasure chest since I started hitting the ocean and fishing a ton. It's getting pretty full of loot. Anyway, now that I'm back home, you gotta know exactly what the first thing I did was. It doesn't really matter. I was just stalling for nighttime, where I'm trying to catch a creeper. And I got him with my expert creeper trapping contraption. However, I forgot a crucial step on how the name tag works, and the creeper exploded, so guess I'll have to try again tomorrow. Creepers don't die in sunlight, so in the morning of day 74, I was actually able to try again. I trapped him easily. That wasn't the hard part. I obviously know what I did wrong now. I'm using the name tag totally incorrectly, but I'm amazed I did this 2 days in a row. So here's what I did wrong. In order to activate a name tag, you have to use an anvil. Then you can rename the name tag, which then renames the creature. I'm gonna name this first creeper Elbaton. Took a little longer than expected, but you gotta remember this was a dream of mine, and now it's real. And because I put a name tag on good old Elbaton, he'll stay there forever, never dying, but sometimes drowning. I guess I need another project now. Huh. Wonder what I could do. Well, of course there's always that. By this point, I realized I'm level 38, and that could be used for a lot of seriously good enchantments. But you gotta have a lot of different items if you want to make a proper enchanting room, and one of those items is sugarcane. I'm not sure how, but I always forget to make a sugarcane farm until I really need it. I also have 0 sugarcane to my name, so I had to go out boating looking for some. Sugarcane grows pretty quickly, so starting off with 30 is gonna be real great for me. I'm not done yet though. Day 77, I was still looking for wild sugarcane. And hopefully while all of that grows, I'll be able to work on another part of my enchanting room. I'm gonna need some obsidian, and I know a spot where I can find some lava in my old mine. I only want to do this once, so I'm gonna mine enough for not only my enchanting table, but also a portal into the nether. But I had no idea I was gonna find some diamonds. Well, I found 1 diamond. Exactly 1 diamond. It's fine. Day 78, I started construction on where my nether portal was going to be. I like it to be in my house and look nice. And by the end of the day, I ran out of my fancy stone, but I think I did a pretty good job anyway. I spent the rest of day 78 psyching myself up to go into the nether. Today's the day! To the nether! Oh no! Not a bad spawn point. At least there isn't any lava around. Step 1, I enclosed the portal in cobblestone. This should help to keep the monsters out. I also got some glowstone, which I can use to make some fancy lights. And that's pretty much it. I got scared and went home. You gotta remember, I'm on hardcore. Day 80, my sugarcane farm wasn't at maximum capacity, but it was pretty close. But ultimately, I'm gonna need some more diamonds if I want to make this enchanting table, so it's back to mining. Around the start of day 81, you can check the clock in my inventory, I found an abandoned mine shaft. This is technically a dungeon, which means there'll be loot here, but I'm also gonna be insanely careful. The last thing you want to do in one of these places is get trapped by a creeper in one of these small areas. But if you're gonna find diamonds, this is the place you should probably look. And I found some. Well, just 1 diamond again, and it was guarded by a creeper. I still picked it up. The deeper I go into these mine shafts, the more nervous I end up getting. But as long as I keep finding diamonds, my hope level's going to be at an all-time high. So now it's pretty much the start of day 82. I know I've been underground the whole time, but that's what the clock's for. I've been just insanely lucky. You can see here I had to fight my way through, but there's more diamonds. But again, it was only those 2. Why does it keep doing this to me? My inventory was getting pretty full, and by this time I had found 8 diamonds, so I figured it was time to go back to the surface. jealous. I was very safe about the whole procedure. No need to die after you've gone through the dangerous mineshaft. It was still the nighttime of day 82, so I probably shouldn't be out here, but it spit me out right near my canal. So I made a little boat and got home quickly and safely. Day 83, we can just take some time to look at some of my treasures. It's literally full. Yep, keep looking. I know you're jealous. Then I smelted some iron or something boring. Yeah, I know. You just want to look at my treasures. Here, one more time. One crucial ingredient to an enchanting table room is lots of leather. So, sorry cows, but I'm gonna have to kill some of you. Listen, with a diamond sword and the correct leverage, there's no pain. And after crying through that experience, I now have everything I need to make some bookshelves. So day 84, I put together my enchanting table. It's not perfect yet, but it's getting there. Currently, the only thing I have enchanted is my shovel because the durability on it was pretty high. I think when my sword and pickaxe run out, I'll enchant those too. I also upgraded my enchanted fishing rod, which really helps a lot with finding rare items. I'm still looking to fish my way to a saddle. I don't have a horse yet, and I really want one. And within 2 minutes, I got a name tag. That's just fine. I fished all night with this enchanted fishing rod. My hope levels were at an all-time high. I fished on day 85 too, mostly because I wanted my sugarcane to grow, so I had to stay nearby. And thanks to my enchanted fishing rod, I finally got my saddle. As you can probably tell, I was very excited, because now it's horse time. But first I wanted to use that name tag I found earlier to add to my creeper collection. This one, I'm gonna name Tors. I didn't even have to use the bucket on Tors. She went into the hole herself. Now that looks cozy. You know, I never anticipated in my wildest dreams that I'd live at this level of luxury. Day 86, I built an incinerator. I have so much trash I gotta get rid of. I put it in the basement behind the stairs, next to my nether portal and creeper chamber. And you know, I made it look pretty nice for a glorified trash can. Also, because my realm is so well connected, I know exactly where to find some planes. And I found a horse. There was another one too. If this one dies, I'm good. Day 87, we're gonna start off the day with a little horse exploring. Horses can't travel across water, but they can go up mountains pretty easily. Look at this thing. This mountain was the only thing blocking my path in this direction. And remember at the start of the video, I said I wanted to move in every direction. And on top of the mountain, I cranked it up to 32 chunks and could definitely see another villager town. So now I'm just working on a simple horse track through the mountain. It doesn't have to be as clean because I'm not going to be doing this on foot, only on a horse. Most of the job and most of day 88 was just clearing trees. I feel like it's the start of the playthrough again. And by day 89, I built a track perfect for horses. I'm not going to do this on foot though. It'd be dangerous. By the end of day 90 though, I was almost done with the entire thing, building the last little leg through the swamp. Yeah, it got dark right as I connected to the villager town, so I figured I'd take the short trek home. It only takes about a minute. And you might notice this is a different horse. Yeah, the other one died. It happened on day 89, I just didn't have the heart to tell you. He fell during construction. That was all that was left of him. It's fine though. He helped. And now I have a great horse road. I'm back in the villager town in game 91, grinding up some of these villagers. If you manage to get one to max level, they can sell you some pretty nice stuff. It's a shame it took me so long to get horses. I could have set up this route forever ago. Because I have a massive farm, by day 92, I was already at master level for one of the villagers. He'll sell me golden carrots or glistening watermelon, which are just so rare. There's a few other villagers I'd like to level up too, but there's no way that's gonna happen with all the zombies running around. But for now, they all seem to be safe inside of the well. It shouldn't take long to fix up this villager town. It just needs a little bit of love. Generations of creeper attacks haven't been kind to it, but I'm here to fix it now. And after the town was certified safe, I let all the villagers out of the well. However, unfortunately, on the way back through my horse road, I was attacked by a skeleton. He didn't do that much damage, but my horse despawned. I'm pretty sure he's still alive, but not certain. I was horseless game 94, so I couldn't really go back to the villager town. Might as well hang out here. I spent a good bit of time constructing my throne room, because every house should have a throne room. Mine is quite comfortable and lavish and has a great view. And you know, for the sunset, there's no better spot. Good news, I found my horse. He wasn't dead like the first one. I only have a little bit more time left, but just enough time to set up a little house in the villager town. With a big enough potato or carrot farm here in town, I could easily get enough emeralds to max out all of the trading villagers. It only took me a day to build, and it's not much, but I think it blends in pretty well next to the other houses. And now if I want, I can sleep amongst the villagers. Nice. Day 96, I worked on my own personal property, and even installed a horse pen so I don't have to tie him up to the well. Day 97, I had to run back to the main camp to get supplies for an iron golem, and I started doing chores, which chewed up my daylight. But I was back in the villager town by day 98, and I brought with me an iron golem. There already was one, but he stays on the edge of town generally, and is pretty useless. Now that the village is saved, last step is setting up a farm so I can exploit them for their resources. And that was pretty much it. I saved the villagers and rode off in style. It was gonna be dark by the time we got home. Perfect for day 100. Immediately when I woke up, I noticed a bunch of pillagers on my property. How did this happen? I was planning on revisiting all of the different areas that I built throughout these 100 days, days, but it looks like this is gonna take a little bit. I don't know how they spawned amongst my animals, but I know several of them are gonna die. That's pretty appropriate for hardcore Minecraft though. This game is pretty unpredictable. Ultimately, I vanquished the loiterers and drank that sweet, sweet white stuff. Now there's no way I'm gonna be able to visit all the different areas I made, but I should honestly just farm. It's probably more useful. There's still a lot to do, and if you guys want to see me go to 200 days, well, I'm gonna need this produce. I like Minecraft. I could do 200 days easily, but if you guys want to see it, make sure to like the video and also subscribe. And I think for me, at the end of day 100, I think I deserve to watch the sun go down. And that's the end of the 100 days. It was hardcore for sure. I definitely learned a lot about Minecraft, and hopefully you learned a lot about surviving in hardcore mode. It's pretty dangerous. I think I did okay for 100 days. I never thought I was gonna kill the Ender Dragon or anything crazy like that. I'm not that great at Minecraft. But hey, if you give me another 100 days, you never know what might happen. I could die at like 142 though, and that would be just really, really depressing. If you liked the video and want to see more, show your support by hitting that like button, and make sure to subscribe as well. Like I said, I had a lot of fun with this. I like Minecraft. I could easily do another 100 days as long as I survive. So if you want to show your support, make sure to hit that subscribe button to subscribe to my channel right now. I'm really close to 1 million subscribers and I'd really appreciate your help. Stay notable. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.